Good morning, everybody. It's your old pal Nate Dad back. It's been a long time. There's a lot of things that have been going on, and it's made it difficult to sit down and really process all the changes and all the challenges that we as a world, as a nation, have been struggling to kind of get through. But as I was sitting and thinking, and have been over the course of the last few weeks, there's still one thing that holds true, that rings true in spite of everything else that's going on around us. And that is, truth never changes. It seems like for everybody, at some point, the lights come on. What I mean by that is that we're all spinning around, fiddling around, figuring out what's next, what's up, what our responsibilities are, who we need to be treating well and different and thinking for and looking out for and all that. And some point along the line, you start to realize that things don't kind of add up as have been presented to you over the course of your life. I don't know exactly how to explain it, but it's like, all through your life, you're trusting what your parents say and the situations they put you in and the circumstances that you're, presented, and you kind of navigate through them. And as long as you're protected and, kept safe, it's hard to jump out of those lines and make decisions that affect yourself or others. And as people get older, those responsibilities increase, those opportunities increase, those freedoms increase. And over and over and over, I'm watching people come to the realization that some of the warnings that were put into their minds and their lives early on were accurate. And they dismissed them. They saw them as unnecessary or hindering or controlling, but that was youth. And as they get older and start to recognize some of the hurdles of life, they see that wisdom is eternal. Truth never changes. And as it sinks in to the reality of your life, it changes things. And in fairness, that's a lot of vague talk, but specifically, I can give you a couple examples that have been increasingly evident over the course of the last, year or so. The first is very simple. Honesty is the best policy. And that's a very simple and naive way of saying that the truth always comes out. There's nothing hidden that will not be revealed. Let me give you a personal example from my own experience. As a child, I found early on that I liked sugar. I still do, by the way. And was staying with my father. My parents were divorced, so I was staying with my dad in Florida for summer break or something like that. And somewhere along the line, they bought me a bag of candy. And, Dad being a guy that says, it's not good to just consume everything at once, said, you can have 3 pieces and the rest go in the cabinet. So I had my 3 pieces, put the rest away. And later on that day, I went and got the rest of it and ate it all. Now, I knew for a fact that if I put the trash in the trash can, I would be found out. So what I did was I took all the trash and stuffed it into all the wrappers and everything into one of the shoes that were stored in the closet in the room that I was staying in, because it was, not my room, but a temporary room. So there were shoes in there. Well, I got spanked for it. And a couple years later, when they were moving from that house to another house, they called me up and said, "Hey, we found your trash wrappers from that candy incident where we spanked you." And Dad made the point. There's nothing hidden that will not be revealed. You see, the concept behind honesty is the best policy is really simple. It's better to tell the truth when you have the ability to determine when the truth is revealed, in what scenario, and how it is presented, right? So the impact of not knowing when that's going to be revealed and under what circumstances is detrimental. Because guaranteed, it's going to come out at the worst possible time, at the worst possible moment, and create more headache than had you been honest at the first go-round. So honesty is always the best policy. I'll give you a secret here. This is the biggest assist to an honest life. Stay out of sketchy situations. Don't put yourself in a situation where things can be compromised. Don't put yourself in a situation where you can be tempted, where people can perceive things that aren't really going on, right? Stay away from situations where you may have to lie just to be able to cover what was done in a bad moment, in a weak moment, whatever you want to call it. But avoid the sketchy situations. That's the secret to staying in a healthy and honest lifestyle. Not easy, but just like anything else, it's something that gets easier with practice. So work at avoiding sketchy scenarios. Another truth that in today's culture comes across as archaic and old and out of date is wait until you're married to have sex. I know that seems like it's outdated and completely unrealistic, but it is so wise and it is so beneficial long term, not only to yourself, but to your spouse as well. Let me explain. So, as a guy who bought into the lie that whatever you want to do, you should be able to do, and that you should be your authentic self and chase whatever desires that you want, that's nonsense. And for me, I had premarital sex with a number of partners before I got married. And the hardest part about that is that I have a memory of every single event that transpired. So not only am I with now my love, who I've been married to for 20 plus years, and it's JJ and me, it's Janet and I and nobody else, but those memories don't go away and they clutter my mind. And instead of having that free to not be able to associate with or remember anything like that, and just to be able to have memories of my wife, intimacy, that the bond between marriage and the marriage bed, I have the clutter of the people of the past. And not to say that those weren't nice girls or whatever, but I compromised my marriage intimacy with other people. That'll never change. It's a regret. There are also obvious and easy consequences to premarital sex, and that being babies. And typically speaking, you're not ready to have a kid and raise a child if you are not ready to be married and committed to one individual. So a bad idea. And culturally, we're seeing the effects of that. Not to mention, you can get any form and variety or multiple venereal diseases. Yay! Obviously, you could talk more about both of those topics, but it's worth reminding you that the point of these two topics is just to point out the silliness of what is being portrayed as truth and reliable, factual wisdom. It's stupid, and long term, it has ramifications that don't go away. Both of those scenarios can do real harm, and do not only harm to you, but also to those that you love, those around you, those that you are responsible for or impact. See, regardless of what's fun or what society's opinion of things are, truth does not change. It is eternal. The sun always rises in the west. Apple trees always bear apples, and cats always give birth to cats. That's never going to change. The reality of it is there's a reason all those cliches have lasted the test of time. Drugs are bad. That's true. Honesty is the best policy. That also is true. Don't have sex until you're married. That's true. You see, it doesn't have to be that all these things are meant to keep you from a good time. Sometimes they're there to protect you from a bad time that you can't perceive. You know, the beautiful thing about a fence is that it not only keeps things in, but it also keeps things out. And depending on which side of the fence you're on, you don't know what's on the other side until you jump it. Sometimes you regret jumping it. Hey, Dad. Love you guys. Don't believe the hype. Test it. Test it. Test it.